Nearly 700,000 U.S. citizens live in D.C. They pay more taxes per capita than the residents of each of the 50 states. They fought in every U.S. war. They're draftable. They're subject to all the laws of the country. And against all odds, without the power to select their own judges or prosecutors or make their own budgets without outside interference, they've made real progress in their community over the decades. And they have nonviolently petitioned for statehood the way 37 states have done it in our history. But they still have no voting representation in the House or the Senate.
That is House Democrat Jamie Raskin from Maryland praising the residents of Washington, D.C. and urging that they be granted statehood. Raskin spoke out at a hearing where Washington, D.C. leaders, including the mayor and police chief, were facing criticism from Republicans. The subjugation of Washington, D.C. leadership is just one part of not having voting representation in Congress. Because even though D.C. has a larger population than 2 states and pays more in federal income taxes than 22 states, Congress gets to regulate and oversee city budgets and laws. And all of the federal issues of our time, including taxes, spending, wars, judges, and federal priorities, are out of legislative reach of D.C. residents.
They are locked out of the normal processes of congressional representation. And yet, when violent insurrectionists attacked this body on January 6, 2021, a beautiful day, according to President Trump, the people of Washington, as Capitol Police officers and Metropolitan Police Department officers and staffers and citizens and local officials like Mayor Bowser and Chief Conte, rallied to the defense of the Congress and the Republic and the very institutions that lock them out. Local residents and leaders stood up to defend us and to defend the vice president against the rampaging mob that stormed the seat of government in the name of the big lie with the explicit goal of toppling and stealing a presidential election. Now, for their service and their sacrifice for the country, Washingtonians must endure lectures about their unfitness for democracy from other people's representatives who confuse the act of seditious conspiracy with tourism and call the convicted assailants of American police officers political prisoners.
Jamie Raskin is a hell of a speaker, and to pick up on his point about political prisoners, consider this. The residents of Washington, D.C. are the only inhabitants of a capital city in any representative democracy on earth who are denied federal voting representation. You can go through the list. Canada, Mexico, France, Germany, Italy, Israel, Japan, you name it. Every representative democracy on our planet gives residents of the capital city federal voting registration, but the United States denies it. Talk about outrageous. And adding insult to injury, D.C. leaders have to show up and be polite at congressional hearings because Congress has the power to reject D.C.'s priorities and programs.
I want to thank the mayor and the U.S. attorney for appearing here today, and I want to thank the people of Washington for not violently attacking Congress, even though you have a legitimate political grievance as opposed to an imaginary one. You've exercised your rights under the First Amendment and the Ninth Amendment to petition for statehood admission, and we salute your patriotic defense of the Constitution and this body and your embrace of nonviolent change. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Washington, D.C. residents have embraced nonviolent change, but change needs to come. 257 years ago, the British imposition of taxes and other measures, while denying American colonies a voice on such matters, prompted the Revolutionary War. Washington, D.C. is still treated as a colony and still has no federal vote on the issues of our time. It is a disgrace, as Congressman Raskin and other Democrats keep underscoring. By the way, contrast Democrat Jamie Raskin with, say, Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. Raskin is thoughtful and articulate. Greene is the polar opposite. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene was recently laughed at and flipped out at a congressional hearing.
Instead of murder, you think this is funny? Ms. Spitalnik, is this funny to you? Is babies being murdered in the womb funny to you? Because you're smirking and laughing at me right now.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.